Welcome back to Christy's Beautiful Life and her 30 days of sketches. Today is day 29. That means tomorrow is the last day, and I've been here and there and everywhere, not getting every day done, which is okay. I think I'm going to get today and tomorrow done, so I will be very excited about that. I currently have all my photos ready to go for this sketch. The sketch is by Laura Wipfler with Cactus Crew Scrapbooking. I will have any information I can find linked below. Here are my photos. I have been not overwhelmed lately, just busy, right? So then when that happens, it's a little bit harder to focus and pick out my pictures when there's a lot of them to pick out, because I know I need a bigger event, and then I have to weed the pictures out, which one would fit in the right spots. Now, this being a sketch, I don't want you to stress out at all, because you could do lots of different photos with this. You don't need the 4x6 and the whatever 2x2s. Yep. And then you don't need the 3x4s. I think it's a 3x4. And then you don't need the 4x6. I'm gonna maybe trim all these down. I like the big circly bits. Those don't have to be big circly bits. The title is over here. I have found that on my Cricut. It's going to say, I love Chicago. The girls are in Chicago. Used to be the Sears Tower. Not sure what it's called anymore. And so there's pictures on that. And that's what I went with. And I still have enough for another layout, believe it or not. These kind of made me think of, I have this paper pack that I would love to use up. So I went into that, and first of all, I separated these out by just ones that I have double pages left of, because over here then are not only the single ones, but all the scrap pieces as well. So I've got these ready to go. And then right next to me on the floor, I have a tray full of things I picked out of my blue and brown bins. A lot of them being borders. I thought about cutting them on the Cricut. I thought about, punches. I have punches at my feet. I can use those, but I have a lot of borders, and if they work with the colors, that's where I'm going. The other thing is with circles, I found flowers, and these are things that I think I got probably like at swap, kind of like garage sales at scrapbook retreats and stuff. So those make perfect circles. So those are on my mind as well. These I can show you are super old, and I do keep some of my stuff in plastic bags. So these are old, close to my heart. They were punch outs, and this is more of the color I'm going with, this lighter, but these can be layered and used with things too. So I'm super excited to get things out of my stash and into my albums. So let's get scrapping. I actually had to Google what the Sears Tower is called, and it's the Willis Tower. So that's what it is now in Chicago. You can see I quickly went through papers, and I decided on this blue, and I like the way it went with the sky. There is it's like sun damage to the outsides, and so I put the sun damage to the insides, which left me a bent corner on one side, but I'm going to cover that up with some borders, so it'll all be okay. This viewfinder was kind of my inspiration. I have one in that color, and so after I think, oh yeah, I kind of like that, I go and I cut some on my Cricut that all match and are all the same color. And I find it weird that Cricut, if you go viewfinder, there's nothing in there, so I actually pulled it out from the internet and put it into Cricut Design Space and made a cut file that way. So these pictures are 3x3. I struggled with that before. I said 2x2. They are 3x3, and I do the usual cut a little bit off of here and there. I knew I didn't want to cut off too much of the sky, but there was a lot of sky area, so I cut off like feet and things in the bottom, and then based on how much I felt like I could cut off there, I took a little bit off the sky. And there is one actually where I cut more of the sky because you can see the feet in the bottom, if that makes sense. And that was important to me, I guess. I don't know why. So these two pictures of Eliza and Meredith get trimmed down to, I believe it's 3.5 by 5, because there is space around it. And then the little plaque they're pointing to says, "You are standing where Ferris, Cameron, and Sloane were iconically filmed in Ferris Bueller's Day Off of 1986. I almost have to take my glasses off to see that. 1986. Yes. Okay. So Jillian doesn't get trimmed down, and that is kind of the way it is in the sketch. And when they took the picture, they framed it better. So that's why I was also trying to leave stuff in the background as far as the sky and stuff off the girls' heads on the right-hand side too. This is where I pull out all my border strips, like stickers and stuff, and most of them I don't use. Spoiler alert, sorry. Once I get them all out, I decide I really want to make, it really needs the bigger strips, and so that's where the pattern paper comes in. And I did pay attention. There's strips on the top and there's strips on the bottom, and two of my papers are just fine, but this paper here needs to be going the correct direction. So I did make a border from the top and I made a border from the bottom, and they're going the correct way, and I am so pleased that I figured this out before I was all done. And there are the finished borders, and I will get them glued down. Here is my viewfinder that I made on my Cricut. I get them laid down and soon discover some of them are too big, so I kind of move them around with what I got. Figure out I need two that are smaller. I do have one left over that's big, and there's the two smaller ones. Magic. This is a border strip that I trimmed down, and I made it the exact size as the photo on top, and then I figured that out because on the sketch it goes a little bit longer, so then the one on the bottom goes a little bit longer. And I was able to use those flowers like I was hoping, and I layered up a whole bunch of things on top of those viewfinders. If I had to do it again, I'd probably do them just a little bit different because you can barely see the viewfinder. It's just like a frame, but I know it's a viewfinder, so I'm good with that. Here I am layering up all the pieces, and I didn't figure it out until after the pictures were taken. When I glued these all down, I changed out the right viewfinder on the bottom with the left viewfinder on the bottom. And the reason why I like them the way they are right now is because that sticker on the right hand, and I know you can't see it, it's a little bit off screen, but the flower on the top matches the one in the lower left rather than them being on the same side of the paper. And I think you can see that better once the page goes up. So these are all the borders that I did. Oh, and I used a Martha Stewart border punch, and the reason I used that one was it kind of made me think of skyscrapers. It's kind of a reach. That is a close to our Creative Memories sticker, so I did use one border sticker for the page. Actually two, because there's one on each side. I wanted to back these photos with the light blue paper. They kind of got lost in the paper, so I took, that's a burlap, if that's a word, burlap paper on the left, and then I found a solid paper on the right, the cardstock, that matches that, so that I had enough to back the photos on the right with. Then I take my ATG and I glue all the borders down, and this is all just by line. I don't measure anything. I kind of just eyeball it and line it up, and I'm glad it all seemed to work out in the end. Little things like maybe on the right side the dark brown strip might be a little bit thinner on the left than on the right, but I don't know. I don't think anybody looks at it that close. And I glue the photos down, and I do make sure that I have room height-wise for everything that is going down before I get them glued down. It's a little bit late now, but it's because I got the whole border down, but thankfully it all fits. This layout actually, when I put all the video footage together, it took an hour, and that's not even including me stopping to cut things out on the Cricut. So it did not need to take that long, and I'm not sure why it took that long. And I sped it up like 4 times so that it wasn't too painful. So let me know what you think about the, you know, when I do speed it up like this. Is this okay? Do I have enough time to talk? Did you want more information? Because I'm always willing to change things around if people have preferences. So I do glue down the I Love Chicago from the that I made with the Cricut, and I made that nice dark brown. And then this, I figured glue the Chicago piece down first because I and Love are always easier to move around based on where the Chicago lands. So I kind of center that, and then I glue down the rest of it. And I use my liquid glue for that because you can slide it around a little bit and get it to where you want it before it dries and sticks exactly and won't leave anymore. And I just use the end of a paintbrush just to kind of make sure it's tapped down really good, that it's where I want it. With my fingers, things can slide and get in the wrong spot and stuff. So then I just start to assemble the right page, and I get down the flowers and the middles and layer it all up. As always, make sure you go down to the playlist below and check out everybody else that is playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life and her 30 days of sketches. You will find lots of good inspiration here. First, I forgot to put the light blue flower in, but I will quickly realize what I've done and get it back onto the flower. And with the ATG, it's very easy to pull things up and reposition. Not so much easier with the liquid glue once it sets up, but and the ATG glue does hold well. It's just that it's easy to reposition. So this is where you're going to see me put the bottom two viewfinders and flowers in the wrong spot. And after final pictures, I do switch them back around to where I like them. And here is where I just move the pictures around a little bit to get them to overlap, not missing any part of the photo, and get them fitting in nice there. That is the wrong viewfinder on the left-hand side, and that is what I'm talking about. Rather than getting the same flowers, that big one and the one on the right-hand side and the little one, they're the same flower. So I just wanted to move them apart a little bit. And again, these are things that other people might not notice when they're looking at my album, but it was important to me. So I get my photos where I want them, sneak the ATG behind it because I know exactly where I want it. Line up Jillian's photo, put the border strip over the top. In a second, there you go. I will glue the other viewfinder on the right, and then I move over to the left side of the page. Oh, and I did glue the glue finder down with liquid glue, but when I switch them later, because the ATG is under the flower, I leave the viewfinder down and just switch the flowers around, and it works well. So this is where I want to make sure that there's enough room and they're in the right spot before I start gluing anything down. And I switch these around because you can see their feet, so you get the whole depth of the whole height of the photo, and I didn't want that getting tucked behind the flower, so that's why I put that one photo all the way to the left. And then they have that nice photo, the one in the middle, and then a goofy one under the right where the flower goes. So that was my reasoning behind why I put which photo where on the left side. I hope you guys have been enjoying the 30 days of sketches as much as I have. I hope to get another one up tomorrow, which is the 30th day. And next month is Off the Board with Pineapple Papers, which I'm also looking forward to. I will post at least 3 days a week, especially over the summer. It seems to get harder to do more than 3 days a week, but when I can, I absolutely do. I hope you have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end, and I'll see you again soon with another video.